Hey people, Iron here. A couple years ago I made a video essay on the One Marvelous Scene project created by Nando V Movies. I'll admit, my first video essay was not very to the point and people were more than happy to let me know that the sound quality was bad. I've improved! So I'll keep this video more short and sweet. So 2 years in a global pandemic later, scratch that, we're still in a pandemic. Side note, for the love of God, please just get a vaccine so we can all go to the crowded spaces again. Like, no one's telling me to say this. I just want to go to a movie theater without worrying about catching this thing. If you're vaxxed like me, virtual high five, because you're saving the world. Anyways, this isn't about heroes, it's about villains. And if there's one fictional character that is as evil and destructive as a virus, it's this guy. Since you're most likely finding this video from scrolling through the amazing playlist created by Nando V Movies and other fantastic video essayists, I'll jump straight to the point, and then I can say the stuff that most people probably won't care about at the end. Plus, if you want to get straight to the action, there's chapters implemented onto the actual video timeline, which didn't exist a couple years ago. If you see this Lego man at the end, that's me, voicing the Lego man of me. I also got a Lego version of Pong Krell himself. Gotta stay on brand with my Lego stop motions. One last thing before we start, I promise. Everything I'm about to explain includes major spoilers for what's got to be one of the best story arcs in the Clone Wars, the Umbara arc. I mean, these 4 episodes are literally a decade old, and they still hold up to this day as some of the best Star Wars content. And I may be sacrificing my watch time by asking you to go watch this arc and possibly come back to this video, but
it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Also, if you haven't watched the Clone Wars yet, why? It's awesome. Easily my favorite TV show, including other non-Star Wars shows. So if you're still here, I assume you've either seen the Umbara arc already, or just don't care. Either way, you've been warned. With all that out of the way, here's why what I'm calling the biggest fool of them all is one villainous scene. To set the stage, our heroic and battle-hardened clone troopers, Captain Rex, Jesse, Tup, and ARC Trooper 5s, confront an imprisoned General Pong Krell on the dark planet of Umbara. This occurs after the clones tried to arrest Krell for deceiving them. Krell is arrested for tricking 2 groups of clone troopers, the 501st and 212, into killing each other after he told each group that the other was their enemy disguised as clones.
And Captain, make sure the troops are aware that the enemy may disguise themselves as clones to try to trick us.
It was a horrific revelation for the clones to realize that they were killing their own brothers. The clone troopers would have wiped themselves out if it wasn't for an individual soldier's intelligence and intuition, that soldier being Captain Rex. If Rex didn't stop and think about what he was doing in the middle of a battle, then Krell's plan based on blind loyalty would have succeeded.
That's because you were the biggest fool of them all, Dogma. I counted on blind loyalty like yours to make my plan succeed.
Loyalty versus individuality, especially with soldiers, is a theme that reappears in this villainous scene, the entire arc, and really the entire show. The maniacal and twisted way of trying to wipe out both groups of men is what leads Krell to be detained, but it didn't go very well first. Eventually, the clones capture Krell, and when asked why he killed his own men, he said,
"Because I can. Because you fell for it. Because you're inferior."
But you're a Jedi. How could you?
A Jedi? I am no longer naive enough to be a Jedi.
Which brings me to what makes Krell an interesting villain, being that he's a fallen Jedi, while still being a Jedi. Let me explain. Other Jedi who fall to the dark side in the prequel era, like Dooku and Ventress, are already introduced as Sith who've already fallen to the dark side when we first meet them. Whilst Krell, on the other hand, is in the middle of what's essentially his initiation to the dark side. Despite being introduced as a Jedi, who are typically the good guys in Star Wars, Pong Krell is clearly a villain. He was introduced just as this kind of tough, edgy Jedi like Windu, at least in the beginning. But oh my, there are plenty of foreshadowing afterwards to show that he was no saint. Including, but not limited to, sitting in the back and ordering his men to go on suicide missions instead of leading in the front like most Jedi. Threatening his own men, memorizing the clones' more complicated CT numbers and calling them by their much easier nicknames.
CT-7567. Do you have a malfunction in your design? Let me be clear about the punishment for the treason committed by ARC Trooper 5555 and CT-5597. ARC 5555
showing that he sees them as expendable units and doesn't care about their individuality. If he's trying to stop literal biological copies of the same person from achieving some individuality through like haircuts, paint armor, and tattoos, then he's all kinds of nefarious. Hell, he even had fire in his eyes that one time. Finally, once it's revealed that he truly was evil and not just a rigid cutthroat drill sergeant type, he had this maniacal laugh whilst hunting down the clones in the jungle. Outstanding voice acting by Dave Fenway. Side note, Umbara is basically the Vietnam War of Star Wars. I mean, you got Hueys, surprise attacks on patrols, carpet bombing, dangerous jungles, even fragging. I guess the only difference is, in this case, like the US would have won, and they were fighting a technologically more powerful enemy. Anyways, back to the point. So Krell's evil despite being introduced as a good guy. So what? Well, here's where it gets even more interesting. Pong Krell is a prophet.
Congratulations, you're a prophet.
He foresees the Republic's downfall, the Jedi Order ending. He knows that it will collapse from the inside, and that a new power will rise, which is right. But here's where he's wrong. Krell thinks that he'll be as part of the new empire on the winning side.
After I've succeeded in driving the Republic from Umbara, the Count will reward my actions and make me his new apprentice.
Your new empire?
Remember earlier when I was talking about Krell's initiation to the dark side? Yeah, his plan to have the clones kill each other and push the Republic off Umbara was that initiation.
And you make me kill my brothers!
But he wouldn't be doing it for Dooku or the dark side. He'd be doing it for himself.
You're a separatist.
I serve no one side, only my own. And soon, my new master.
See, apart from being self-centered, Krell made two fatal assumptions. One, that Palpatine would even allow Krell to be part of his master plan, and two, that the clones would follow his orders without question, like Dogma. Great name for this character, by the way. Outstanding job by the whole Clone Wars crew working on these. Fortunately, brave individual clones like Rex and Five stand up for what they believe is right, despite disrespecting orders.
We must be trusted to make the right decisions, especially when the orders we are given are wrong.
This is a real-world concept that can apply to militaries all around the globe, because I'm sure that there are questionable orders today that a soldier would much rather not act on, but they either comply, attempt to desert, or face the peril of dishonorable discharge, or worse. Krell didn't even think that the clones would figure out his plan because he sees the clones as inferior.
I'm surprised you were able to figure it out. For a clone, I will not be undermined by creatures bred in some laboratory, because you're inferior.
Anyone who sees themselves as superior to another person is just nefarious, plain straight evil. So, in summary, even though the biggest fool of them all was intended to be Dogma for following orders blindly, it was the overconfidence in his plan, selfishness, and superiority complex that led Pong Krell to his downfall, making him the actual biggest fool of them all.
I had to. He betrayed us.
Thank you for watching. I can't state enough how great of a job Nando V Movies did organizing this whole event, so that he could bring fans of pop culture together for 3 years in a row now. That's respect. When I watched the starter video for this year's One Blank Scene project, to follow the rubric if you will, I noticed that Nando mentioned I could choose from basically any intellectual property, not just Marvel like the last 2 times. So naturally I went with Star Wars. This video took a bit longer to write the script and edit for than I expected, but I think it turned out great and I'm proud of it. I think it's funny that I said this video would be short and sweet, but it's actually longer than my previous video essay. I also thought it was a good time to put out this video now, just after the finale of The Bad Batch. I personally haven't seen it yet at the time of this recording, but I'm about to watch the last 2 episodes after I finish working on this video. If this is your first time here on the channel, welcome. I make mostly stop motion animations, but I also occasionally make other videos related to film and animation, like this one. Please consider checking them out. If you want to make a One Villainous Scene video essay, then please make a video about one of your favorite villains, with the One Villainous Scene in the title, and submit it to nandovmovies@gmail.com so it can be added to the playlist. If you are one of my subscribers and people who have seen my videos for a while now, first of all, thank you. I'm not sure where else to tell you this because I don't have enough subscribers for a community tab yet. I'm not complaining, by the way. I'm very grateful for all 390 plus of you, but I'm going to be taking a bit of a break from YouTube for a while. Don't worry, my videos and channel will still be here. I'm still planning on uploading a few more videos before I go on my break, but I just need some time away from making videos to focus more on my life, because there is a big life event happening very soon. I'll probably be back before you know it and have more time and energy to make videos. Finishing Night World and working on this is took a bit of a toll on me, so I deserve a break. I mean, if iCarly can come back after 9 years and the Clone Wars can come back after 7 years, I can definitely go back to making YouTube videos after a few months. I mean, I went back to making stop motions after 3 years. The internet will still be there when I get back, so anything's possible. Anyways guys, I've been Iron Elephant Productions. Stay tuned. See you later.